Wait, we're live! He's got the flag out!
Yeah.
We're going to the finals! Way!
Got the scarf out! Way! Gonna get it all packed and ready.
Oh.
And I watched it earlier on as well, but on my phone. Jesus.
Yeah, it's getting you. It's getting you ready.
Fair, that's the first time I've seen that. If that intro doesn't get you like pumped up and ready, then what's going to?
Well, this is it. I get to use it for the whole of 2 videos.
Too much, but you know.
I get to use it for the whole of 2 videos. Then I need to make a whole new intro. But you know, it's worth it.
Yeah, dependent on what ends up happening on Saturday.
Anyway, we are live. It's Black Cats TV here, and we are going to recap and preview the upcoming final. I'm joined today, of course, by Conrad. We didn't do the text message for matching outfits again, clearly. How you doing, Conrad?
Yeah, mate, not too bad. It's been a while, but busy dads and that, so we don't always get time, but it's good to be here.
And, of course, the awesome Michael Bowers, who also didn't get his memo to wear the same shirt, clearly. You know.
Is his packed ready for Saturday? That's why.
I don't follow trends. I just go my own way. But, yes, I'm doing very, very well. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm not so bad at all. Not so bad at all. Good to see Las Palmas Mackham, first one in the chat there, says, evening lads, FTM. Harry, SAFC and Coffee Goblin both in there at the moment. There's 18 people. Make yourself known in the chat. Get joined in. Ask questions. Do whatever you like within reason. But yeah, get involved. So we've got to go straight to the last game because we haven't really, we've recapped amongst ourselves, but we've not really recapped it on here, Conrad. What a game!
Yeah, well, I mean, I caught up with your live stream on the way home when I finally got in the car at about 1:30 in Sunderland to drive home. Yeah, it was a fantastic live stream and a fantastic game to be at live as well. It was a shame I couldn't join the stream from there, but I mean, I saw Michael before the game. We just bumped into each other outside the front of the stadium, waiting for the players to arrive, and then sort of made our way inside. And even just the music before the game, I'd never heard them do playlists like, and I was like, just do this every week. This is class, like, you know.
We haven't got the budget for that, man.
No, they couldn't afford Metallica and John Cena every week. They couldn't be doing that. Yeah, and then it was just getting bigger and bigger, and then maybe once the game started, I think that everyone's nerves sort of kicked in and went, shit, what happens if this doesn't go our way? And probably the feeling of the first game against Coventry, it was like, okay, so it is going to be like this, and we are going to play a conservative game, and we are going to do this. But yeah, if I'm just going to jump straight to the end, what an absolute moment. Arguably the best moment I think I've probably seen in that ground when I've been there live, up there with, you know, Defoe's volley against Newcastle, Edwards' goal against Burnley, Chopra's winner against Spurs, you know, Richardson's free kick against Newcastle as well. Just
straight to the end here, Conrad. You're throwing us all off. What's going on?
I had to, it was a while ago, and people, when you watch the game back, all I can think about now is big Dan Ballard's sort of like scissored header where he's ducked down but his body's jumped up to
I don't know how he's folded. I've not been able to fold that much.
I have no idea how he's done it, but like there's no way you can jump 6 feet in the air and head the ball at 3 feet in the air and like still manage to sort of get it in off the underside of the bar. It's the most bizarre header, but I don't care because of how it went in. And I was at the far end of the ground. Michael probably got a fantastic view from where he was sitting.
Oh, absolutely. Well, standing more like, I'm in the southwest corner, so of course it was Q. Absolutely. The funny thing is when he first, I can't believe the angle he managed to get his body up for, and I'm just convinced he's not human now. That must be like, so is he secretly Superman and he just hasn't told us? But, I even just watching the way the ball just bouncing off the bar, didn't it? So like he kind of heads it towards the bar, bounces it offwards, and originally I just thought, oh, that's it, it's gone for a goal, it's gone out for a goal kick, his penalty. He's like, oh shit, we've scored, get in! Yeah. I could not believe it. It was absolute pandemonium is the best way I can think of to describe it. It was, I don't know what it was like where Conrad was, but it was people jumping on top of each other. It was limbs. It was I don't mean this in a disgusting way, but it was like sweaty people going across each other because of how nervous they were, how tense they were.
I know exactly what you mean.
It was just...
It's really selling that stadium atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. I was just a bunch of sweaty people, you know, just getting
Well, I was in the northwest corner, only like the 7th row, so I was almost like perfectly like in line with it, so that when he heads it, I couldn't really tell the difference between like the ball moving. But I just remember seeing him head it. It then hit the bar and disappeared down behind the bodies. But I just remember seeing the whole end just go. As like everyone around suddenly realised.
As soon as everyone starts celebrating, it's just a blur of just people right in
Stop.
front of you.
Stop, please. We've done all the goal talk before the rest of the game.
That's that's all that matters from that game. Is it went in? Trying to sell you the moment.
You're selling me the last 2 seconds, right? Listen,
your headset away. You bumped your head. Like I know it was a difficult thing with your live stream.
I've got to be fair. I did like Mike's reaction though. And I think he did say calling it.
Yeah, Ballard.
Ballard header from a corner. The play goes in. Oh, yes!
Called it. Anyway, at the start of the game, let's backtrack 19 minutes and 58 seconds.
59 seconds earlier.
Yeah. What did you think of the lineup going out? Conrad, what did you think about the lineup for the start of it?
As far as I can remember now, it was the exact same, wasn't it? We didn't make a change, did we?
No.
I'm just going to look it up.
The only change was Mundell onto the bench, I believe.
Onto the bench, yeah. I thought it's exactly what it should have been. You don't change a winning side, and I didn't want us to try and be too clever. I thought we've done, really well in the first game against Coventry, and why would we bother to change that? Let's make them make the change, and then we'll react to that. So I remember, I think, just looking at it going, yeah, great, 2 up top. We've not gone ultra defensive at home. I know we're going to be playing a conservative game, but we've still got our 2 forwards on. Yeah.
Michael, do you think, was that a game plan for Coventry? Because they've been a bit of a bogey team. Or is this 4-4-2 going to be something we see in the final, do you think?
I think Labrise is probably pragmatic enough to sort of adapt it to each individual team we come up against. I think it was probably a conscious decision because it was, like for Coventry going at the second game, they knew what their objective was. They had to win. They had to win to at least take it to extra time / penalties, which of course they were obviously seconds away from doing it, so it nearly works. But if you look at it, I think it's because our position was kind of, we knew what we had to do in terms of not losing, but it makes your approach a lot more complicated because you sort of go, well, do you try and match what Coventry are doing and leave yourself too open? But if you sit in too much, then you concede, then your game plan's out the window. Do you, it's a hard balance to try and get, but I would suspect that I think he did it because specifically it was Coventry. You got to remember as well, we hadn't won away, well, obviously before the first game, we hadn't won away at Coventry for 40 years, was it? 40 years away from home. And then obviously the second leg, I still had my issues with just how defensive we were and how I didn't expect us to go all out attack gung ho. For example, like the Coventry game at the Stadium Light in the league last November, where in the first half we went at Coventry hell for leather to an extent, and obviously we're helped by the fact we scored 2 stunners. But either way, I didn't expect us to go all out attack or anything like that. But I did think there could have been a bit of a better balance of, sitting in to an extent, but then pressing and bombarding forward when we've got the ball, like being. Because I think because the one criticism I've got over both legs actually was the fact that I think our ball retention on the ball stuff at times could have been a lot better. But at the same time, you've got to give due credit to Coventry. They're obviously not a bad side, and I would say Coventry might be closer to us in terms of points had it not been for the fact they started so shit. They started at one point when they like near the relegation zone at one stage.
I think they were 17th when Lampard took over or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said all along, I think Coventry's squad is one that should be a playoff squad, not just playoff challenging squad, but should be finishing within the top 6. But yeah, so a long-winded way of answering your question. Yeah, I would say I think it was a conscious effort to try and keep Coventry at bay more than anything else. But to an extent, Coventry did play well, I think, on the night.
Yeah. Just pull a few comments in so we don't miss anyone. Coffee Goblin says, I'm watching the game from the Monty Suite Saturday.
Not a bad place.
Coffee Goblin, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to try and cast my stream onto one of the tellies in there.
just for Sunderland's final reckoning this
season. Even if it's for a moment and just take a photo, that'd be awesome.
Mike will be there with you in spirit.
Yeah, the guy that predicted the Ballard goal. Steve Chappell, my brother, is in the house. He says, my lucky shirt hanging up, not washed in 3 games. I mean, I grew up with him. He doesn't wash his clothes that much anyway, so that's no big deal. Are you going to be wearing white or home kit, Michael?
Whichever one I decide to wear on the morning of the game.
You've not pre-planned this, it's not all.
Yeah, I think I've got like 3 different Sunderland shirts that I'm taking down with me. So at least, maybe I'm overpacking a little bit, but you want to make sure you're prepared. You want to make sure you've got a bit of options to choose from. So whichever one I feel is going to be the luckiest on the day is what I'm going to wear.
Making sure you're prepared. You need to get over to my prepper channel there, Michael. There you go. Mash Mariner says, I honestly thought they would still be trying to sell them till Saturday morning. I'm gutted they went off sale as I've paid for travel for my cousin and his boy, and now they aren't coming.
That's See, that's what I mean from what we were talking about before, because like they originally released, it was an extra 1,000 tickets, I believe, for the game on Saturday. And it's a shame, really, that they couldn't have just put it to some criteria for more general sale, because people like that are going to be missing out now because of the fact that, and I get season ticket holders get first priority, then that's absolutely fair enough. But again, not everyone's circumstances. Like I imagine for Conrad, for example, obviously having Isaac now, he obviously won't be able to get as many games as what he would have wanted to. So, I just think something like whatever tickets were left, put on general sale, put out a new phase, a new criteria, because it was pretty obvious from last couple of days that people who were season ticket holders, there wasn't many more season ticket holders needing seats for themselves. So and surely you want to have fans in those seats in the stadium on the day.
It should go off what you spend as well. I think between me and Conrad, we've probably spent more than a season ticket cost on stuff from the stadium store and stuff like that. We've probably spent
people who've been to people who've been to home games this season for them, and stuff like that. Granted,
people that walked 90 miles all the way to the stadium and don't even get a free ticket. Shocking. Shocking.
Well, exactly. I literally was bleeding from the foot, all the blisters, all the yards I put in, and I can't get a ticket for Wembley.
Can't even get a ticket. I'm kind of glad that I get to finish this season doing what I've done all season, doing the commentary. So it is kind of a thingy around
just
circle.
As long as you keep accurately calling what's going to happen in the game, we're all right.
Yeah. The atmosphere looked really intense in that extra time as we went into extra time at that game. How did either of you have, hand on heart, have faith of the win at that point, or did you think it was going to be penalties, Conrad?
I was already because of the way we played throughout the first 90 minutes, and I was like, we didn't really offer much attacking wise. I couldn't see us just suddenly turning it on in the extra 30, thinking, right, this is it now, which is bizarre, because actually in the last 15 we did turn it on a bit. Actually, when Mundell got on the ball a bit and was out on the left, and Enzo was moved a bit more central, and Rigg swapped in for Roberts, and Rigg was miles better out on that right hand side than Roberts, and put 2 or 3 decent balls into the box, not crosses, but just little passes that they had to clear out, or Mundell had that one cleared off the line from Rigg's cross and run in. It was just like we seemed like we wanted this more, and Coventry were either knackered or they were setting up for penalties thinking, well, they've missed the last 6, this should be easy, we'll be up for this. But I think because everyone knew our penalty record recently, I was doing the same thing as me, sitting there going, I can't even name 5 people to take a penalty. Like, if I'm being absolutely honest.
Hume in a wig, Hume in a different shirt, Hume with his shorts down.
Hume and Ballard. It's about it so far. And because Wilson had gone off at that point as well, so he wasn't even on, which might have been a blessing for his latest penalty records anyway. But, it was, and they brought Hjelde on, with 30 seconds to a minute to go, and I was like, I assume that's for a penalty at this point here, because we weren't shoring up the 1-0 loss for a penalty shootout, so I assume he was coming on exactly for that. But he's a left footer as well, so they're always a bit better at penalties, aren't they? As it just, I was already preparing for that, and the atmosphere hadn't gone silent, but I think there was that nervousness of, we know it's penalties next, and there's always a possibility of a last-minute goal, but I'm not going to sit there and say we were all roaring it on. I think when we got that corner, there was a shout of come on, you can do it. I didn't sit there for a minute and think, we're going to get this.
Our set piece record this season, this season's been atrocious. Exactly. So you can't be blamed for that.
I was sitting there, I think I had my hands exactly like this, and I was just like, just come on, just please. If there was ever a time, just, but I also didn't want us to head it off the bar and out because that's worse. Do you know what I mean?
If you'd have tuned in to Black Cats TV, you'd have knew that goal was coming. Because
they listened to Conrad's first bit, head it off the bar. Just thankfully went in the correct way.
Yeah, exactly. It went. He didn't do it an inch or two higher. It would have come back to him. But I don't think we were all in the ground prepared for that, and that's what made it, I think, even more loud. The fact that it was like just such a shock to everybody that it was like, oh my God, we've scored and we've won. I didn't think we'd actually do this. And the relief of no penalties, the relief it was over, rather than it just, if we'd have scored 5 minutes earlier, you wouldn't have heard the same noise. Because there would have still been that nervousness of, you've got 5 minutes, you've got to sit in, you've got to do this. It was, I think, the whole thing of, it's over, we've done it, we've actually scored a set piece. It was Dan Ballard, who's been the best player over, the 2 games as well. And we're going to Wembley, all rolled into one moment. And it was enough.
Ask him a question about anything about the game. He just goes straight to the goal. I can tell it's affected you deeply and emotionally.
It was amazing.
Michael, describe the atmosphere around you at 90 minutes when you knew it was going to go to extra time.
I think it was almost the nervous tension, and it had kind of got silent, but not in the way that the fans. To be fair, as you know, I've criticised our home atmosphere quite a lot, especially this season. I think it's been really poor. But on last Tuesday, it was actually really, for that most of the game, it was pretty good, I think. We stuck with the team, we stayed behind them, and even when Coventry scored, obviously it was frustrating, but, we said stick with them. You go, right, all you got to do is just get one, just get level on the night and you're through, basically. So when it was extra time, the thing that gave me a bit of hope, and I'm not going to sit there and pretend that even when we had the corner, that I had the accuracy that Mike did in predicting it. I was never going to go along that far because I just kind of, Mike. Actually, no, hang on. He's Magic Mike, but in a different way.
Nobody wants to see that.
No, you're Magic Mike calling actions in football games.
There we go.
Whatever, in a good way. But yeah, so I feel like extra time, the one thing that gave me a bit of hope for extra time, even though I was absolutely crapping myself, was the fact that Coventry had to play their best team week in, week out, full pelt repeatedly to get into the playoffs, whereas we've had that luxury of being able to sort of rest plays. Yeah, and that as well. Yeah. But I felt like we would have had the extra legs and the extra freshness towards the end of the game, and I think the last 15 minutes that definitely showed. I think you can tell because Coventry had given so much that they thought, let's just settle for penalties. But thankfully, Dan Ballard made sure that didn't happen because I don't think we would still be in this conversation for promotion if it had gone to penalties.
Even moments before our set piece, they had a set piece up at our end, so it could have gone either way, right?
Piece, 118. Theirs was 118. Ours was 121 when it went out, I think.
Well, wasn't even at the start of added time of extra at the end of the second half of extra time they had a corner.
They had a few,
Well, the Hadji Wright missed one right at the end of the 90 minutes as well. I mean, almost a free header. He should have scored.
Target at least.
Yeah.
So I think there was a bit of relief there because I looked at that Hadji Wright chance and I went, we've got away with one there. And I rate Hadji Wright. I think he's actually an underrated striker in the Championship, and he scored a hat trick against us, didn't he? At the CPL.
Scored a hat trick against Meppen, not Ballard.
Well, true, not Big Dan Ballard.
Yeah, no one scores that.
He wouldn't have had the chance to head it. He wouldn't have the chance to score a hat trick. He heads the ball 40 yards anyway, did Big Dan, doesn't he?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's pointless going to asking you both for a man of the match. It's got to be Ballard, right?
Well, he was fantastic again. Even if you took that away from it and say we just won on penalties and whoever would have scored the win, he was still an absolute unit all game, heading things away, clearing things out, organising the back line, just simple passes, still trying to, as I always say, him and, when Meppen and 09 just do that back and forth, and it doesn't go anywhere. When he gets it off 09, he's looking out for Hume or he's pushing forward with it. He's trying to sort of lead us on. It's just the difference in him, and it has to be him for that moment anyway. Although you could probably say Enzo over 2 games. Did he get 2 or 3 assists? No, he got 2 assists because the other one was their defender.
Goals, didn't he?
He pushed the guy around.
For my Ender's winner.
Coffee Goblin mentioned we've had some good set piece routines throughout the game, and we have throughout the first leg as well. And it's almost like, where did this come from? Well, because anyone anyone watching our channel knows that I've been saying for ages what's going on with set pieces. We need some sort of set piece coach. But we've done, and it's not just like swinging it in and getting lucky. We've been doing some proper routines. Looks like stuff from the training ground. Where's that been all season?
We had a chance with Hume, didn't we? Hume had that volley in the second half, and it sort of back post volleyed, almost like his Millwall goal, but obviously it didn't come off. I think the keeper saved it. But another one where he just finds himself free at the back post, and it was like, that was dead easy. Why don't we just do this more often, you know?
That was in the first leg you were on about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it was in the second.
The one where Hume found himself easy at the left-hand side back post at Coventry.
No, he also had one at home as well. In the second leg, he did, yeah.
Oh, yes, he did, didn't he? Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
So if you,
he did in the first leg as well. Yeah, you're right. He completely did.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I suppose I'll give an unsung shout. Maybe it was just me, but I thought Luke O'Nien had a good game in the second leg as well.
Did? Yeah.
Personally, and again, when you're up against Sakamoto, Haji Wright, Effa Mason Clark, you're up against Jack Radoni as well. Run that, that's not an easy team to sort of keep it bait for 90 minutes, let alone 120 minutes. So, well, maybe 105 because they were knackered in the last 15. But, the point stands. I think because obviously Ballard got the headlines, and rightly so, because he scored. And he's probably the biggest reason we're at Wembley and not Coventry. But, I think O'Nien was pretty good across both games.
Definitely. I mean, I can't fault many players. And, from our run
game over 2 games.
For our run of bad form before these playoffs, I was on Dan Neal's back all day long, but even he didn't do too bad. Now, but I will throw one name in the hat who has not impressed me at all, and I've sung his praises all season. I've been thinking he's going to come good all season, and it was Roberts. He just off the mark. His decision making for such an experienced player is terrible. Big open gap or easy pass or run into 3 players. I'll run into 3 players. It's just, it baffles me, and he's not had a good game for both of these games. I can't say that he had.
No.
Have we seen the best of him?
Defensively, in the first leg, I thought he was very good.
He runs.
Yeah, a bit to be desired. But I must admit, apparently he's been playing with a muscle injury or a calf problem, whatever it is. I can't remember, but he's been playing with some sort of either discomfort or some sort of light injury. I suppose there's context around that, but I must admit I thought he was very poor in the second leg, because I feel the thing I was getting most frustrated at was because because Coventry were having a lot of the ball, and obviously having a lot of the ball doesn't mean you're going to do anything with it, but what it does is it puts you under a lot more pressure than what you would like to have. So when you've got the ball and you're running out, you need to either have an outlet to hit, or you need to be careful and actually keeping the ball and not just go, I know I'm going to run into 3 players. Oh, I've lost it. Sorry guys. And Roberts did that quite a few times, and I was getting really agitated with him because I'm thinking, Roberts, we're going to be under the cosh a lot in this game as it is. Can you please not give it away?
Cheaply,
Do you think it's a case Roberts just tries too much and tries to do everything?
He's just not found them shooting boots, all that final ball this season. Yeah. He's still made some great runs, and I think he's still contributed quite well. And like you say, defensively, when he makes a mistake, he tracks back for it, and he really does go for it, which I'll give him credit for that. Yeah. But I mean, let's be honest, Conrad, he's not a Premier League player, is he? If once we go up after this final, he's not going to make a. He's going
straight away with the confidence, isn't he?
Well, I was sitting there going, like, I think the one thing I said after the game is I would be starting Rigg on the right hand side for Roberts, not necessarily for quality and going past a man or anything like that, but I think more desire and willingness to just do the simple things would be my decision for him starting, and because I think Rigg will be desperate for it. Whereas I'm not questioning Roberts' attitude, but when it's just, it means more to Rigg than it does to Robert.
No,
you just know. So I'm saying that.
Can we see another cheeky Rigg back heel? That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be amazing. But if you asked me who I'd still prefer, I was over those 2 games, I couldn't have been more impressed with Sakamoto going, we need to be signing this kid. Whatever league we're in, like he's a trickster. He had Sirkin on absolute toast most times. If it wasn't for doubling up or trying to just when Job was covering or Neil was covering or even O'Nien was covering across.
He's their best player.
He was very hard to live with. I was very whenever he got the ball in both games.
I mean, I know what would happen. You'd sign him and he wouldn't be that player for us anymore. But you're sitting there going, if you want an upgrade on someone like Robert, who probably would be a bit, and he's 27 years old, but I think you couldn't go wrong for looking at him. I think he's a great player and would fit in really well for us.
Oh, can we sign him and can we get the stadium to play the old Hello Moto tune every time he scores? Hello Moto.
To be fair, right? I'm of the, because I've been having this. Well, I'm hoping, whether it's you guys on here or wherever it is, hopefully after Saturday, the conversation is who's good enough for the Premier League and who do we need to sign for the Premier League.
Yes, we'll be doing all that.
Yeah, that's what we hope to be saying for next season. But
I've already made the thumbnails, Michael. I've already made the thumbnails. Confidence.
So we know it's Conrad. It's Mike's fault if we goes tits up. But he did call the corner. To be fair.
I'm sure we'll come on to it at some point. But if we come on to confidence of a victory, I think I was more confident than Mike was. I think I sent an absolute essay to the group about why we should be confident, but not confident in them. Yeah. Go on.
No, I was going to say, if Mike is absolutely bang on, I will be more than delighted. We'll all be delighted because it means we've got promoted. But I was going to say on Roberts quickly, me and a few friends have had this conversation before about who in the event we do win on Saturday, who is good enough. And one of the first people we said straight away that probably needs to go would be Roberts. Either go out on loan with a championship club or, find a new home because he's got 1 year left on his deal now, I think, left. But to be fair, if say we don't go up, which I know Mike says pretty much isn't going to happen by the sound of it. But in the event that happens and we're still in the championship, I wouldn't be against Roberts having a place in the squad because I think he's got some value. But I would want to try and improve right wing regardless of what league we're in. I'd like to try and see next season someone who's going to have better decision making in the final third. But it's also a balancing act because if they have class decision making, they're not going to be in the championship, are they? So that's going to be that's the conundrum. So
that's what Ipswich had to deal with this season, and they didn't get it.
Well, yeah, very true. But to be fair, if you're looking at someone like Manuel Benson from Burnley, who we've been linked with before, I think if we don't go up, if you sign someone like him, you have Benson and Roberts on the right hand side in the championship. I'd be pretty fine with that personally. But obviously you have to take into account how well they fit into your system, how well they fit into the culture of the club and whatever. But yeah, I do like Roberts, don't get me wrong. I think there is definitely a really good, handy player for the championship in there. And his assist tally is pretty decent this season. It's all right. It's not too bad. Granted, couldn't get him much better because he only got 1 assist the year before. But, so I like, it's frustrating because I like Roberts, but I get really frustrated with him when you can see that he's just trying, because I'm going Roberts pass, and then he keeps on hold on to it too long and then ends up giving it away.
It's like watching Raheem Sterling for England, isn't it? When you're just like, get rid of the ball, pass it to somebody else.
get pass to someone else, get rid of the ball. No, I didn't mean pass it to them. But I will not accuse Roberts of being lazy at all because I think you can tell. I think if anything, he tries too hard. If you know what I mean. But,
he's got a good work ethic. It's just that final ball, isn't it? That's the only thing. Yeah. But he's probably got.
If he was a squad option, sorry, last point I was just saying, if he was a squad option next season, I'd be in the championship. I mean, I'd be pretty happy with that if you signed someone.
I wouldn't mind him staying on board if we get somebody even better. We're not going to be in the championship next season. We're going to be in the Premier League. So we'll have to get somebody better there. But as a backup, I'm not even crossing my fingers. B. Mergerman said, I've been trying to stay away from all the channels chatting about Saturday. In my head, we're winning it, and I refuse to believe any different. You come to the right place, B. Mergerman. You come to the right place. The thing is, right, I'll tell you why I'm like the way I am. Because I said all the way running up that if we beat Coventry, we've got it. They were the team. They were the only team. And our conversation before the Coventry
thing 2 weeks ago as well.
There you go. And all the conversations before that I was having, even with the Coventry fans from Sky Blues TV who came over here to have a chat about it, they were the team. If we beat them, I didn't mind. I was confident. And despite how well Sheffield's done in the last 2 games, I think it's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. You come to the right place, Beamer, man. We're going up. Last thing on this second playoff game is we have to talk about what you briefly mentioned at the start was that entrance. Oh, 2 things, sorry. The entrance and the signboards. So we moved the signboards in.
Oh, right, yeah. I see what you mean.
Now, top quality off-pitch shithousery as far as I'm concerned. Well within our rights to do so. You could even see the treads where they were sitting, and they were claiming it was because of how the capacity of the crowd is. What did you think about the signboards moving, Michael? Is that a good tactic from the club? Are we just playing to our strengths, or was it just? Would it be terrible if it was done to us?
I think Coventry would be like, "What the are you doing?" But you know what? To be fair, I think the signpost. Look, it's obviously shithousery, isn't it? Of course it is. If you're going to have any sort of advantage that can get in your favour, you do it, don't you? Because let's be honest, in League One, we have been victim to probably something similar to that. All over probably it's too many times. I probably forgot. I've tried to erase it from my memories, really, but I'd be very surprised if there wasn't any sort of shithousery classic against us in League One. So, you know, it's a bit like, say, Chris Maguire leaving us and scoring a hat-trick against us for Lincoln in front of Lee Johnson. There you go. There's one example of it. Exactly, Conrad. I tried to forget it as well. But yeah, it is shithousery, don't get us wrong. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, if it helps, it helps. I'll take anything I can get, really.
Same feelings, Conrad, on that one. Pretty much the same.
Well, if you know a team's got a weapon over you that is, going to be a threat, why would you actively go ahead and let them do it?
Why load the gun for them?
Yeah, when there is nothing in the rules that says there has to be this much of a gap after the pitch or anything. Like have you seen some of the Premier League grounds? As soon as the line ends, it just drops off by like 2 or 3 feet. So there's clearly no reason for it. So we sort of went, well, do you know what? Let's nullify a weapon that was actually difficult for us on Friday, and that takes one thing out of the arsenal. Absolutely, why wouldn't you do that? I'm surprised we haven't put planning permission in at Wembley for something similar. But
maybe hopefully KLD's got some friends down there.
It's shithousery, but it's completely fair. Why would you let them do it?
The Coventry fans on their channels are all talking about, they were all talking about the entrance as well. Not just like onto the pitch with the flames and the show and the T4 thing, but also the club bus coming in, the flares lining the streets like we'd won a cup. And, some ex-players might call that over-celebrating when we scored as well. But, we won't go into that one.
Coming from a man who couldn't celebrate at Wembley because he passed it to Sasha Illich.
But, I mean, it's intimidating enough for most clubs to come to the Stadium of Light. It is a big stadium. It is a big venue. It's usually a really good crowd, depending on how well we're doing at the time of season.
Yeah.
I mean, does that intimidate? That must have affected their players. Michael, what do you think?
I'd like to think it would have done. I certainly think that, if you're playing in front of an atmosphere where most of the fans are against you and most of them are willing you to do shit, basically, then, you know what? Fair enough. I think the atmosphere, I mean, when I met up with Conrad, and he'll be able to tell for himself, hey, I like this guy. I've had quite a few Sheffield Wednesday fans sort of saying that they want us to win, obviously. Well, I can't wonder why, though. But yeah, when we met up with Conrad, when me and Conrad met each other beforehand, it was the noise levels even outside the ground before, and that was what, an hour and a half before kickoff?
Or it was early. When we met each other? It was only just after 6:15.
Something like that. It wasn't like it was like 5-10 minutes before the team bus arrived.
Yeah.
So that was really, really good, and I loved the atmosphere, and even just as Conrad will know himself, the absolute roar when the team coach actually arrived, and it was just everyone just sort of like letting the lads know, come on, we're behind you, go out and let's get ourselves to Wembley. So, I think, and then even in the stadium itself, to be fair, I thought the roar, even when, the T4, the big T4 sign, the till the end banner came up in the Roker end, you had the roar, I was one of the fans where you hold up the red and white plastic sheets, whatever it is they're called, have a sea of red and white in there. It was spine tingling. As soon as the players came out, the roar was just was incredible, and it was only set, and the noise levels there was second only really to the goal. Well, sorry, to the goal, and then full time singing we're going to Wembley, really. But no, I think that that home atmosphere, I think, definitely did play a part.
Yeah. Conrad, you were there as well. The Coventry fans up in the gods were saying they could feel the heat from that fire at the intro. How was it being there?
I was in the 7th row.
Oh, he's lost his hair. Oh no, that was all right.
Yeah. And fuck me, you could feel that heat. It was ridiculous. It was, but I mean, so it went up, and you were like, you do like with fireworks, you go woo, and then you go ah. There was a little bit of that. They can only do like quick blasts, because I think everyone sort of went all right, okay. It was like
the warmest you've ever been on a night game, though. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it was class as well. And I don't know if you could see in the corners, they had the ones that did like 3 directions. So every other one was like straight on the corners, so I went everywhere. But no, as Michael said, it was like all the people who go, oh, well, it was, celebrating like you'd won before. It's a completely different. There was no celebration beforehand. It was all, you can do this, we're with you, and when we believe that you can do this, especially after Friday. And the same when they walked out, it was all this roar of support. There was no over celebrating. No one was overconfident in the game. I think even me and Michael had said, we draw this game, but that's, that's fine. Like, none of us were going, oh, we easily beat Coventry tonight because we beat them down at their place. No one was under that illusion. No. It was all just full-on support of the team and the job that needed doing, and it was exactly that.
Hats off to the owners and the marketing department. Since the debacle of painting the bar the wrong colours, we won't say anything more than that. It's been an absolute campaign at the end of the season, and genuinely, I feel less nervous going into a final because I'm already proud of this team so much this season. What an end to a season we've had already. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a really good foot to be on. And going down there with the fans after that performance, the atmosphere, the takeover at Trafalgar last time is going to be nothing compared to this time, in my opinion. Are we going to see Michael Bowers with his top off hanging off a statue on Trafalgar Square?
Nobody wants to see that, I promise you. I will be at Trafalgar Square, though, because this time we're actually going down for the weekend. Because last time I went with, I can't remember, I think I saw Conrad at the Wickham game. I think it was Wembley Way.
Yeah, we bumped into each other on Wembley Way, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you ran up to us, and I think we were just having a conversation going, yeah, we've got this. So hopefully it's the same thing Saturday. But yeah, I mean, just quickly on the Paul Boy's assist, I like that. To be fair, if you're looking at
Enzo's kiss assist.
There you go. A bit more shithousery, isn't it?
Yeah,
but, you know what? To be fair, like I think also as well to quickly talk about the Coventry fans, like a lot of them going, "Oh, look at them! They've celebrated like they've won it." I'm like, guys, I'm not being funny. You celebrated like you'd already got the Wembley as soon as the regular season finished because you assumed you were going to tank us over 2 legs. Funny how that worked out, wasn't it? It's a classic example to never ever get overconfident because it can bite you on the arse.
Yeah, so, Mike had was it Claudio on here, and he'd even said all the fans were wanting Sunderland in this. Like he wasn't being overconfident, but he went. Every one of them was unanimously saying we want Sunderland.
Which is a perfectly fine comment to say because of the record. 1985 since we beat them at their place, 2007 at our place. It's just absolutely insane, the stats. Yeah. So let's go into the final here. Let me go to the chat really quickly so I don't miss too many people. I'm sorry if I miss you guys. If you've got anything like a question or anything, put it in block capitals or use the super chat feature. That way I won't miss it. Coventry fans were saying on their podcast that we were quiet and they didn't hear us. I heard that and I just think it must have been the acoustics of where they were. Either that or we deafened them in the first 5 minutes so they couldn't hear anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at that, I mean, I can't imagine their atmosphere in general is any better than what ours is. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was one Coventry fan that was in particular that was an absolute tool on a YouTube channel when he was going on about being the head of the celebration police. So basically, he was the celebration sheriff by the sound of it, the way he was going on. So, I mean, look, I actually think that there were. No, I think the atmosphere in general was pretty good. And quickly, one thing on the celebration thing. Look, the idea we over-celebrate is absolute bollocks. Because, what are you expecting? You've scored a 122nd minute aggregate winner to beat your bogey team over 2 legs. That's a really hard game to get to a playoff final. What are you expected to do, Go?
Well done, chaps. Jolly good show. Now on to the next.
We're not doing that again, are we, Mike? With the 90s commentary. And it's a girl.
I'm not supposed to show any emotion for over celebrating. Well done, lads.
That's it. People say
you've all learned a cigarette
football anymore. Like there's no passion, there's no this, there's no that. And as soon as anyone gives any passion, they're like, "Oh, you overdid that." Like,
you can't win, can you?
No.
It's emotion at the time, right? If it's us that gets beat in the last minute of a final and they're all celebrating like maniacs, we're like, "Oh, look at them, they're idiots." It's just emotion getting the best of you.
Look at. Well, I know we try to forget this, but look at when Charlton beat us. What was it, 6 years ago?
And I could still hear them from the stadium as I was going to my car, and I was just like, "Oh, that's horrible."
But I know it was horrible. I hated that. But the point is, that's some of the most mental I've seen an opposition fan base go. And rightly so. You've just scored a winner in the 90. In the last
it's a winner. It's not a like. Again,
you know.
It's different. If it's 5 minutes earlier, it's not the same celebrations. The time matters.
Exactly.
Charlton's was 4 seconds away from the end. Ours was 1 second. It hit Ballard's head at 59.
Yeah, exactly. Here's one for you, though. Yeah. If Saturday, actually, I got one. How confident would Mike feel if it was, say, the 95th minute on Saturday? It's 1-1, we get a corner, exact similar circumstances to Coventry. How confident is he going to go?
They'll all mark him. All 11
I'll call it at the time. Might not be Ballard, it might be somebody else, but I'll call it at the time. Well, I mean, I am confident for this one. We'll do score predictions at the end, and I know none of you want to do it, so be ready for that. So going into this final, let's talk firstly, before we talk about team lineups, because it could affect the lineups, there's going to be VAR. And there's going to be the offside cameras. I can't remember the abbreviation.
The automatic offsides.
That's the one. There you go. It sounds like somebody sat there with a machine gun waiting. Yeah. Right? He's off. Oh, that's a whole new game.
Game challenge.
Let's not
VAR with people like 09 on the pitch makes me nervous. Because of some of the stuff we have got away with this season. What's your thoughts on it, Conrad? Is it going to be? Do we have to get used to this? Obviously, going into the Premier League anyway, or would you not prefer to not have it for this final?
I mean, I'd probably be the same. You've not used it in any games to get here. It's a bit rich to be using it now. I always think that in the FA Cup, when they sort of go, no one else can use it, and then they get to the sort of quarterfinals and go, now you can. And you're like, well, that's a bit harsh on all the teams that may have had perfectly legitimate goals ruled out or given, that were wrong. But hey, I mean, it's at Wembley, it's a final. You want everything done correctly. And I'd like to think that if we got cheated out of like a marginal goal or something, that VAR would be there to help us out with that one. The 09 thing is fair, but I'm struggling to think of anything he's done where I'm like, that is a straight red card that he's ever done. He does things that are yellows and VAR doesn't get involved.
There's questionable penalty moments in set pieces.
He grabs people on set pieces, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think what Mike means is when he basically tries to pretend it's wrestling instead of football and hammers people to the ground in the box. That concerns me.
Did we have VAR against Wickham though, didn't we? And it just wasn't used.
I think there was one occasion where we half appealed for a penalty and it was given as a corner instead. But apart from that, no, it wasn't. I'm kind of the same opinion as you in that if you're not using it all season, why are you using it now in the biggest? Well, in club-wise, with the richest game in football, isn't it? This is what this game is often billed as. So for me, it's questionable that it's in there, but at the same time, I hate championship referees. I don't like even without VAR. And the worst ones are often the ones that are too crap for the Premier League. So we'll just shove them down in the championship where there's no VAR and their decision-making ability gets exposed even more where VAR doesn't cover them up. So, I don't know. It's kind of like, which one do you view as the lesser of two evils as far as I'm concerned?
Oh, we're going to have to get used to it anyway, obviously, for next season anyway. But it's just, I'm of the thinking of Conrad. I'm of the view of Conrad where it's like all season we've not had it, all the way up to it we've not had it, all of a sudden we've got it in the final. It's just, it kind of makes you worry a bit of them moments that we've got away with stuff. But although it also could rule in our favour when you've got the speed of Enzo, we've seen how fast Isidore can go if the right through ball's put through. And a championship referee in the league might call that as offside just because of the pace he's got away from there. And we could be seeing goals that we wouldn't have usually seen. So it can work both ways, I suppose. Going into the game, though, Michael, we beat Sheffield United with our good old 4-5-1 or 4-2-3-1, however you want to say it. With our formation, we stuck to pretty much all season. We've just had 4-4-2 twice in a row. How do we line up against Sheffield?
Yeah, this is the big question that Bruce is going to have, isn't it? For me, it's a question of whether a lot of it for me depends on how fit Mundle is. If Mundle's fit, I think you go with a 4-5-1, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever it is. whatever variant of that system you have, I think if you have Mundle on the left and Lefay in the centre, I think that will cause Sheffield United quite a lot of problems. Providing we don't get anyone sent off or anything stupid like that. So I would like to cover all bases for any eventuality. But either way, I would be very keen to see us do that's this. I can see us going to 4-3-3, 4-5-1 or 4-2-3-1 if Mundle starts on the left, because a lot of it depends on how we combat Sheffield United, because I do think Sheffield United have got players that concern me, likes of Gustavo Hamer, is it Sidney Peck, I think it is, Vinny Souza, you've got Richie Sunak for some reason. Don't ask me why. Richie Sunak on the right hand side of Sheffield United.
No, he's definitely on the right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say.
I think he's more centre, but
Yeah.
Matt Hancock decided to convert over to the left and kiss a woman in the crowd. Okay.
Let's not go political, boys. Let's not go political.
Let's
keep it football.
Yeah, moving back to football.
Yeah.
Moving back to football. Boris Johnson plays up front as a lone striker. Right. Right. Yeah. Right.
Brexit football from Sheffield United.
Sheffield United. It was all Sheffield United fans. Raksaki on the right hand side. Then you've got Tyrese Campbell up front. Has obviously done really well for them. Kiefer Moore, I think he plays up front for them, doesn't he? So obviously he's a big strapping lad up front that could cause problems, particularly if he targets Luke O'Nien. But at the same time, what gives us hope is that if he plays the likes of Ahmed Hozic and Jack Robinson, particularly Jack Robinson, they're not quick. And I think if you and the big question for me is if you're gonna drop sounds harsh, but if you're not gonna go 4-4-2, who the heck then do you play up front? If it was against the likes of Jack Robinson, I would go with Mayenda up top, because I think he's got the right amount of athleticism, he's got speed, his dribbling's got much better in holding on to the ball. I think he'd be an absolute nightmare for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck with 4-4-2, but me personally, I probably would go to 4-3-3 depending on Mundle's fitness.
I think I'm of the same strike, going to the lone striker. The lone striker would start as Mayenda. See how Roberts gets on. But 50 minutes in, you could push Mayenda out to that right, and you could put Isidore on then, because we know he can do the job. So there's lots of options there. Conrad?
We played 4-4-2 against them at home earlier on the season. Isidore and Mayenda both started and were both up top, and probably Mayenda just slightly behind Isidore, but they were both up top. And their goal was a mistake from was a mistake from their defender, miscontrolled it, and Mayenda just sprinted through, and they were never catching him. The next one was Mayenda played out to Isidore, and he knocked it and ran past. Well, not ran past,
wasn't it?
Round their defender, and still got there first and put it in the far corner. So. You're right in what you're saying, that the defenders are slow, but we played 2 against them last time when we beat them, and I think we'll probably stick with the same system that we did against Coventry. Maybe not set out the same way with us on the ball. I think we'll have a bit more of the football this time than Coventry allowed us, or we wanted. But I definitely think we'll play a similar one, because in sometimes they did drop back and it was a 4-5-1, but in other times Mayenda or Isidore were both up there, trying to get onto it, and it's just we didn't get much chance to see it with the ball. But I think in this game, I don't think Sheffield United, I know they beat Coventry quite easily, but I don't think they're actually a better attacking footballing side than Coventry were, or controlling side than Coventry were. At least against us anyway, but I think we still stick with the 2 like we did at home. I think we easily outplayed them at home.
So you think 4-4-2? I mean, I would be inclined to go back if Mundle's fit, like you said. I'm kind of with that one. I think, what my brother said there was Lafee behind Mayenda, leave the middle 4 as you were, sort of thing. Roberts would be the only one I'd be considering dropping at this point, potentially starting Rig out there, start Roberts on the bench. But I mean, I'm not going to...
else out there then. Sorry, man. Just to throw something else out there then. If you still went 4-3-3 anyway, if you needed to drop Roberts, there is the possibility of putting Isidore up top and Mayenda out on the right.
I think
I don't want to not have him up front, because I think Mayenda's very good up front, but it's just an option there that might be considered.
Well, I think that would be my option off the bench rather than start it, because if anything, touch wood, if anything happened to Meander, I'd want Isidore to come on. I'd rather, if we're going to start with one up front, one needs to be on the bench from my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think I agree, because you want a bit of better balance, don't you? And I think Meander's better suited to playing up front as a striker rather than being sort of shoehorned. I don't get me wrong. I think if he played on either flank, I think he could do a good job. But
he's contributed on either flank.
Sorry,
he's contributed for us on either flank.
Yeah, exactly. But I also feel that again. I also feel like, well, I agree with you. He has contributed on either flank, and I'd be comfortable with him on either flank. But I would prefer he's up front.
I agree with you 100%. I just think that formation that we've seen most of the season, although I'm the one trying to champion 4-4-2 all the way through the season, and now I'm saying go back
now
to
you're
it.
Going, no, I don't want that one.
I think it's more fluid to be reactionary for if something does happen. You can bring on a striker and go to 4-4-2, and you could do that on the pitch with 4-4-2, but moving it about. As a manager from the sideline, throwing two players on to completely change the game is much easier than trying to get people to swap out positions on the pitch.
Well, another thing to point out as well, is that if you go 4-4-2, then if Mundle's fit, but you can't drop the Faye, but then you have Job and Neil in the middle, so that already throws that into a bit of a no, mate, we didn't.
Because it was New Year's Day was the Sheffield United game.
A week after we played Sheffield United.
Yeah.
New
Year's Day, and then about a week after.
Day, wasn't it, though?
Yeah,
about a week out. You're right, about a week after Lefay signed. So I think my point is, if you're going to go 4-4-2, then you have to drop one of Mundle or Lefay then, because it means then 4-4-2 for me could work if Mundle's not ready to start. If he's ready to just sort of come on and contribute the last, let's say, 20 minutes plus extra time if it gets to that point, then that's all well and good. I just think that a 4-3-3, especially if Mundle is fit and you have Lefay in the centre, even though you're dropping one of the two strikers, I think it gives us a little bit better balance as a system, personally.
So on 4-4-2 for you going into this one, has Neil and Job cemented their place in the centre? Is that a non-starter to change one of them out?
Well, this is the thing, is if you do that, then who do you have in the centre? Me personally, yes, I think it is Neil and Job, because if, say, you took out Job, for example, which I don't think anyone would advocate doing, or Neil,
not at all.
You can't exactly have one of them two and Lefay. It's not a balanced. I know it's technically rigidly a 4-4-2, but it's not a natural blend in the midfield. It's not a balanced midfield for me. So that I think what system we go with genuinely depends on how fit Mundle is. I really think it goes along with that. But I agree with what you said earlier, Mike, where if you say you started with a 4-3-3, then if, say, we need to change to later on in a game, if, say, we're, heaven forbid, but if Mike's right, we're not going to be in the situation, hopefully, anyway. But, like, if, say, for example, we are behind and chasing a game, then if you have to change to 4-4-2, then you say you've got Isidore to come on. Even if you started Neil, Job, Lefay as a 3 and Mundle was on the left, and if Roberts, even if he started, you've still got Rick to come on as well. You've then got the options that can come on and... Look, obviously, Sheffield United will obviously have better options off the bench, but so they should. They've got much more money to play with than us, being a parachute team. So it's one of those things. Apparently, they've changed system quite a bit recently, since top 2 was pretty much done for them. So I'm interested to see how different they line up to the first 2 games. But I would say as well, to be fair, though, I think in the first 2 games we played, especially the game down their place, I think we've shaded it both times we played them. So
I don't think shaded. I think we've been better both games easily.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, first half at their place we battered them. Second half was even, but still was at least even at very worst. And in the game up here, they had more of the ball, but again, I don't think they created all that much.
They didn't do anything with it.
We scored their goal for them. So, and that doesn't mean that they're not going to beat us, because they obviously finished third, and they're obviously not a bad side. There is every possibility they beat us, but, well, except in Mike's world. But in general, in every possibility that they beat us. But I also believe we are genuinely capable of getting a win against these, because if it was Leeds or Burnley we were playing, I'd be a lot more hesitant to back us, because I'm like, Burnley, I know a lot of people obviously think, Burnley's boring because of the whole defensive record thing, but because they're so good defensively, that makes it 10 times harder to score against them, weirdly, and as such, you drop back and go, well, we're not going to score here, so we might as well just defend for a 0-0, which invites Burnley onto you. And then Leeds, look, there's obviously... Sorry, if Leeds had been in the playoff final, there would have been the Leeds falling apart again, nonsense. But like, even if that happened, I would not want to play them in a playoff final. So,
and like I say, none of us wanted to play Coventry either because of being a bogey team. So this was probably, apart from Bristol pulling off something, or or I think on the last day, the Middlesbrough could have potentially got there with lots of stuff landing in their favour. I'd love to have played them in the final. Yeah, I'd love to have played them in the final. But other than that, I think
imagine the police down London if that was the final.
I think mid-March we were already saying we all wanted, if we were going to pick one of the top three to play, it was all unanimously Sheffield United, and it was because they are beatable. Like, we're not saying we're easily going to win. What we're saying is they are beatable. We have a
chance here, don't we?
Yeah, we've got an even chance. No, so I think I said to go on. So yeah.
No, go on. Well, I was going to say really that for me, if I was going to look at percentages of chances of how I felt about this, say on a scale of 1 to 10, I think our chances of beating Leeds would have been at best a 2 or a 3. I think Burnley would have been at best 4 to 5, but that's probably quite generous. Whereas I feel Sheffield United's about a 5 or a 6. It's not definitely they have no chance of beating us, because they very well could beat us. They have quality players and could beat us on the day.
Absolutely.
They could be better than us on the day. We don't know yet. But out of the three, if we had to pick one of them three, who I feel we have the best chance to beat, it would be Sheffield United, because I've watched them. Out of the games they've played this season, I've probably watched about 16 of them, and only 2 or 3 at best have they looked impressive to me. And they were at Coventry at home, they were good. Bristol City at home in the second leg, they were good, but there was caveats. By that point, by half time in the first leg, the tie was done pretty much. Once Rob Dickie got sent off. So, and let's not forget as well, although beating anyone 6-0 is not to be sniffed at, that's obviously not a bad thing. Let's be honest, who's had the harder tie out of the 2 games? Sheffield United against Bristol City or against Coventry?
It's kind of what I said.
If you swap the ties round, I bet you that Sheffield United have a much harder tie of it than what they did.
I think I sent to Mike yesterday, I think I genuinely think we'll win. And it's because all the talk so far from, proper media outlets and all pundits are all like, I think, it's going to be a great game, but Sheffield United take this for me. They're the strongest side of this, to this, to this. And I'm sitting there going, but football's not played on who's the strongest side. Yeah, they've got some Premier League players in there and they've been in the Premier League recently, but I think we're a better unit than they are, and we're a much better organised side, as you've just seen in the most recent 2 games where we knew we weren't the better side, but we made sure that we got the job done there. Like we were saying there, we battered them down at their place, we battered them at home, we were only narrowly unlucky to lose at their place because both teams had 10 men and we missed a penalty as well. Then there's going to be squeaky bum time, and they're not, it's not like they can't beat us. They are a good side. They have some great players there. But the way everything's aligned so far, I genuinely think we're going to win this game. And there's only ever one time in the playoffs I've ever thought we're going to win this before, and that was Wickham. I didn't think we were going to beat Luton to get to it last time. Last time was fun. We shouldn't have been there, but we are. And, it was all this thing. But every other playoffs we've ever been in, I've gone, I don't know. And with Wickham, I went, no, this is our time. And a bit like that Ballard goal, slightly judging back to it, I think it's almost like it's fate now. Like it's our time. And that moment really cemented it for me that it's our turn.
The marketing team at Sunderland deserve it.
And also, here's throw another one into the equation. Again, it does have a gut feeling to me of fate and destiny, this game. But like I said, it just depends. If as long as we perform to our level, as long as we match Sheffield United, as long as nothing daft happens, like again, us having a brain fart and someone getting sent off or anything like that, I think we are genuinely capable of winning, and I've got a gut feel. And to spoil it, I have a gut feeling we will do it. I said exactly the same thought process as Mike in that I'm not overconfident, obviously, because I'm never overconfident with Sunderland. I've learned the hard way not to be that way. But I feel like I've said, if we were going, it's a bit similar to the. Oh, it's an interesting one for Jeffrey. What quality players going to each other win? Yeah, well, see, the thing is for Jeffrey, and I'll give this for Sheffield United to be fair. Everyone goes on about their records in the playoffs. That means absolutely nothing, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have beat Wickham 3 years ago. And
look at the Wembley curse we had for such a long time.
Well, exactly. I mean, I'm hoping that it won't play on the minds of the players. I don't think it might slightly play on Chris Wilder's mind, because he's a Blades fan himself, isn't he? So I do think that would. But at the same time, it could work the other way. He could be some extra motivation to go and beat that record. My point was going to be though, like even in the Oh, thanks very much, Mike. That's very nice of you. But even in the 3 years ago in the League One playoffs, we scored in injury time against Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. And we scored in injury time against, well, it was extra time this time, but you know the point, like...
Yeah, we scored late goals.
A goal with very late goal in the second leg of the semis. So, as I'm sure Jeffrey wouldn't have minded, us knocking Sheffield Wednesday out. But like again, we probably both playoff seasons, like that time under Alex Neil and this time, the semi-final, we got the opponent I didn't want. I didn't want to play Sheffield Wednesday over 2 legs in League One, but we showed character to get through those games. And I really didn't want Coventry on this occasion, but I think it hopefully the fact we've got past Coventry stands us in good stead, because you go, well, Coventry are no mugs. Like, even I know Sheffield United beat them comfortably, but even if you look at the game down their place, to be fair, Ahmed Hozic did get sent off, and that did affect things to some degree. But I thought Coventry were really good that day. It was back in November when we played Millwall, I think it was, away, like in November. Like, Coventry were actually really good that day. And I've said before, Coventry really are probably finished about half a dozen points at least off where they really should have done with the squad they've got. So I just think that we all talk about momentum, and don't get me wrong, I want momentum going into the playoffs, and I stand by that. Momentum doesn't guarantee that you're going to definitely go up, and I stand by that even with momentum we should have got over the 2 Coventry games. But I think the players should get a lot of confidence. Well, I bloody hope they do. Really praying they do. After an 89th minute winner in the first game, and then 122nd minute aggregate winner at the end of the second game, and I've just got to feel it. I'm hoping that it's a case of that Ballard goal was too, not iconic if that's the right word, but too big a moment not for it to end in promotion. But I'm well aware it doesn't work like that. You've got to turn up on the day.
Just feels like that though, right? Just feels like that. A goosebump moment like that just feels like it's destined for something further. But
well, yeah, I mean,
we are of course biased.
Mike,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was the same, don't get us wrong. I was the same thought process as Mike. I said that if we get past Coventry, I fancy us to win it. So for the sake of consistency, I think there's a genuine, it's a gut feeling that I think we will do it.
Yeah.
Might be wrong,
right.
But it's a good feeling.
Well, we'll put that to the test. If you are brave enough in the chat, there is about 60 of you in here. If you are brave enough, stick your score prediction in for the final. I'm not bothered about doing it. I'm sure Conrad's not, because we've not got any right this season anyway, so it's irrelevant what we say. We know it doesn't affect. we know it doesn't affect, but please get your score predictions in if you're brave enough to do so. I have gone extreme. I've gone 3-0. I think it's going to be a much more comfortable win than Coventry. I think if we play with the same heart to us, of course, if we play with the same heart and passion and desire that we've seen from this team, I think we're going to do it a lot easier than a lot of people think. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm just psychic, apparently. Conrad, dare you predict this one? Dare you predict this one?
Yeah, I mean, I've all week I've been sitting there going 2-0, 2-0. I just think it's a bit like the Wickham game where it's not like a domination, but we're just comfortable. Do you know what I mean? But again, could be completely wrong. This is me banking on the complete organised Sunderland that we've seen in the last 2 games turning up and knowing their job and doing it well. Things could easily go the complete other way. But I think I'm going to be a bit more level-headed and say we'll win 2-1.
Right. 2-1. Oh, I don't think my nerves can take it. Michael Bowers, dare you predict this one? He's muted.
Hey, I don't, and my nerves won't take it.
There you go.
Why not? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I've just seen Jeffrey's put 4-0 Sheffield United. He's going 4-0. You're going 3-0. Yeah. I think very surprised if it's not a tight game. Again, if it's 11v11 or something like that. But okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with the same score, but it's going to be 1-1 after normal time, and we'll win it in extra time.
Oh, you're trying to just... You're just trying to kill my nerves.
Here's one, right? And okay, so how nervous would you be? Let's say that comment's right and it goes to penalties. And I really hope.
Don't.
Hopefully we do it in
either 90
minutes, either in 90 minutes or worst case 120 minutes. Let's say it goes to penalties then. Let's say Sheffield United take theirs first. and let's say they miss it, and then they score their next 3. They score their next. Is it next 3? Hang on. Right, no, forget it. I'll start again. Let's say they score their first 4. Say we score our first 4, and then they miss their last 1, and then we're 1 successful penalty away. The silence says everything.
What are you doing to us?
It's sort of slightly delaying when you're talking there.
Do you want to make it even more nerve-wracking?
Go
on. No, I was going to... Well, can you hear me now properly?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's say then it's penalties, and it goes to the last penalty. We take our penalties second, so Sheffield United take theirs first. But let's say if we take our last penalty, we score it, we're up. How sick do you feel in that moment?
No, I can't. I'm go whiter and grayer than I already am.
Especially if it's Isidore.
Just no.
Isidore won't be on the pitch at that moment.
We're not doing it. What's your score prediction then, did you say, Michael? Did you actually give us a score prediction?
He said 2-1 after extra time. He said 1-1 going into extra time and then 2-1.
2-1. There you go. 2-1 at extra time. Right.
We'll win 2-1 in extra time. Yeah.
There we go. My nerves can't take it.
That would be the ideal coffee goblin. That would be the ideal.
He says predictions 3-0. We score 2 early goals in the first 30 minutes. Then it's like the Alamo until late third goal, and everyone goes crackers. Well, that's my 3-0 prediction as well. Steve has gone for 2-0 to Sunderland. Hutchinski has gone 2-0 to Sunderland. Jeffrey, the Blades fan, has gone 4-0 to Sunderland because he didn't say who, so I'm just going to take it that way.
4-0 Blades?
No, I'm going to take it as 4-0.
You didn't say
You're in the wrong podcast. 1-0 Sunderland, Alex Dixon. 1-1 David Brown, 4-3 on penalties. David,
who misses for Sunderland, David? Because there's 4-3, it can't end there if you've scored all 4, right?
I do not want as much as it's great, and it'll probably be great for viewings and ratings and reactions. I don't want penalties at Wembley. Just don't. Christian Wheatley says 2-1 to the lads. Don't let Roberts take a pen. Don't let anyone take a pen.
Do you think it would be a perfect redemption arc if Isidore scored the winning penalty or scored the winning goal to get us up?
Yeah, definitely.
What happened at Burnley.
Yeah.
100%, definitely.
But it should be Trey Hume on penalties.
All of them.
All 5 of them.
Right, we've gone well over usually allotted.
The first one normally, and then he just shaves his tash and then
shaves off bits of his tash as he goes throughout. Yeah.
We've gone over. Love it. Anyway, we've gone over our allotted time, so thank you everyone for joining us. That's our predictions. We've seen your predictions. Anyone watching on the replay, get them in the comments below this. We've still got a league table going on for this, so it'll be interesting to see because there's not many points in it at all. There's like 2 points at the most in it, Conrad, I think.
I think there's a couple of winners so far, at least 4 people. So if you're already on the leaderboard and you get an extra point, you're joint top already if one of them doesn't pull away.
There you go. Excellent. So thank you everyone for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Conrad, would you like to say any final thoughts and goodbyes to the wonderful people?
Good luck, everyone. We'll get through it on Saturday, but I genuinely think we're going to win this game, and I hope you all do too. It's not overconfidence; it's just a gut feeling, and we'll see how we get on. Away the lads.
Michael, any final thoughts and goodbyes to the wonderful peoples?
Yeah, I'm quite. I'm absolutely bricking it. I am very nervous. There's a reason it's billed as the richest game in club football, but come on. I think it's a good opportunity. Let's hope we're the difference, and let's hope in 2 days' time we're a Premier League club again.
Yes, we will be, and we'll be talking about all of that, I'm sure, in upcoming podcasts and everything. And one day, Michael Bowers will get good internet. What it'll happen. It'll happen. Just like us going to the Premier League, that will happen one day. If you don't know Michael Bowers, I've no idea how you found us before you found him, but there is his channel. Just search Michael Bowers on YouTube. He'll be right at the top there. Make sure you go and subscribe, check out his videos, and I'm sure he'll be updating us from Wembley and from down that there London during the weekend. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you all in another video really soon. Oh, live stream. I will be doing a live stream for the final. We will be on half an hour before the kickoff. Conrad will join us. We'll talk about how nervous we are, and we will all shake and be nervous together before kickoff, and then I'll do the commentary all the way through. Watch me smash up my headphones.
See you all on the other side, eh?
Highlights, yeah. And we'll see you at that one. Goodbye.